What up, Dokkaners? The global data download has dropped, so now we know the start time for part 2 of this worldwide download celebration. And if you're able to play your cards right and you're able to complete every single event that is available on night 1, in just one day you could earn at least 150 Dragonstones. So we're going to talk about that and more in this video. This is a follow-up to my previous data download video that I discussed on the JP side of the data download, which of course still applies to global. This is still pertinent information, so I highly recommend you guys go check that out because we talk about a lot of stuff there. This is going to be pretty much a follow-up to that, covering a lot of the things that I didn't mention in that video, as some of you guys did post some questions mainly about the Meta Cooler army. The free-to-play Meta Cooler army, I feel like a lot of us can agree, very underwhelming display. When we were looking at these units builds, they're not that great. They're pretty, what would you say, mid, bad, inconsequential, non-existent. They do get a attack and defense plus 100%, which is great, but I mean, really? So these guys are bad, and so people were hoping for them to receive some sort of an EZA. Well, I've got good news, folks. Thanks to the data download information from Proton, we can see this in the data files. What this is basically a red outline of the effects that you see on the actual design. This is basically referencing a sticker effect, as you see with Piccolo and Vegeta and Cooler. Every unit that basically receives an EZA gets one of these sticker effects. So if they are seeing that in the data files, that means these units will be receiving their EZAs. When it's going to happen, we don't know, but we know that it's going to be happening at some point. So you all can rest assured they will be receiving their EZAs, which means you're going to have to do the due diligence and get those SA5s. But the good news is the missions make it very easy. Now, back to this. So the first thing is going to be dropping at 11 p.m. PDT on September 8th. Now, for those of you who don't live on the West Coast, on the in North America or Canada or in South America, then you are probably wondering what time this means for you. I'm going to give you a simple shortcut. Whatever time zone you're in, whatever time reset kicks in, that's the starting point. So for whatever time that you live where you're able to run through this event for the first time during the day, the Turtle School thing, or the Hidden Potential Awakening stuff, or the Gohan event, or the Piccolo event, whatever time that is your starting point. That is reset. You simply have to add 6 hours to that, and that will give you the start time for the free-to-play Meta Cooler army. So for me, that is 11 p.m. PDT on September 8th. For most of you across the globe, it's going to be September 9th at some different time. So once again, whatever your reset is, add 6 hours. Now, if you add 2 more hours after that, that is going to be the start time for the Meta Cooler Dokkan Festival EZA, Super Saiyan Vegeta, and Piccolo. These 3 will not be dropping at the same time as the free-to-play Meta Cooler army, simply because that's just how they do the EZAs for joint celebrations. It happens later on, 2 hours later to be precise. So in the meantime, you guys can be farming at the Meta Coolers, and you can also be working on some of the new content that we'll be releasing as well. And that is where we dive in to the Dragonstone Breakdown, because there's going to be a lot of different events that are going to be available at the start of part 2, which you guys can be working on. They don't have to necessarily be done, but if you want to get all of these stones in one go, you're going to want to beat all these in your first few tries, which I don't think a lot of you are going to be able to do right away. Some of you can. Obviously, if you've been playing a lot more, you're more experienced, it'll be fine. But for those of you who are newer, you're going to have some stuff to work towards. So let's just go through this. Shout out to Dokkan. Save me the hassle of having to do this counting myself. I was literally going to count 1, 2, 3. It's going to take a very long time. So thank you, Dokkan, for saving me from doing stupid math. So what we got here, we got the Wicked Red Zone, was a Wicked Bloodline Red Zone. 10 Dragon Stones, because you get 5 stones per mission complete. You get a mission for each one, so that's 10. And you get 2 more stones for simply completing those levels. Each level completion for the first time gives you a singular Dragon Stone, so that's going to be 12 right there. The movie Red Zone missions. Now, this is obviously referencing the Broly. If you guys don't know, Broly is getting the same missions that the Omega Shenron Red Zone got during part 1. Only this time, it is way worse. Broly is 10 times more difficult than Omega Shenron, and it shows even in the missions. Number 1, you got to clear this with a full super team and a full extreme team, both covering every single type. And number 2, you got to clear stage 7, which is the Broly event, within 8 turns, which means you have to be clearing the 4 different forms of Broly within 8 turns. So to me, this drastically dwindles down the options that you can actually run on your team. And I feel like there are a couple of units in particular that simply have to be there. So I will do a video on this. I will show you guys my run on how to beat this, but just remember that some of these missions are getting really tough, where you may not be able to get these done right away. And I don't want you guys to feel discouraged, especially new players, because just keep in mind, like, just think about it. If you start the game and you're able to beat all the missions right away, that doesn't bode well for the future of the game and your experience with it, because that just means that all you got to do is buy the new unit and you can beat the event right away, and then you're good, you're done, and you just do the same thing, rinse and repeat over and over and over. This challenging, these varying levels of difficulty, I think gives the game a little bit more of a structure for new players. It gives them some sort of a perspective or a narrative to kind of like aim towards, a goal to aim towards in terms of team building. Like for me, when I started playing this game, my main goal was to conquer Super Battle Road. So what I would do is do quest mode, all the different story events. I would farm out a bunch of free-to-play units and then try to see if I can get them done with free-to-plays. And then if I couldn't, I would slowly start to look for different summonable units that would help me with my teams. So don't feel discouraged if you can't clear some of these stages. I feel like these are going to be very difficult. I feel like there's going to be a lot of salt coming out of these particular missions right here. So I just want to let you guys know about that. But moving back here, we got the red zone for movie edition. Then we got the robot soldiers event. So this is the breaking through enemy lines mission. This is the one, hopefully you guys saw my Bardock video talking about this. These are the various missions that we have here. Basically, the more enemies you clear, the more stones you get, and they have varying levels of it, all totaling to about 30. So clear any stage, clear 5 enemies of Cyclopean guards, so defeat 20, defeat 10. I saw 15. Yeah, you got 10, 15. I think the max is 30 or 25. I think it's 25 actually. 25 Cyclopean guards, which is basically like 5 rounds of enemies. So the more of these you're able to get done, the more rewards that you get, which is why we are getting 30 Dragonstones and then 5 extra stones, because there are 5 separate missions, and each level that you complete for the first time you get a singular Dragonstone. So that's 35. AGL Metacooler EZA, 34 Dragonstones. So 30 stones obviously for the big time event, which is of course the 30 round Extreme Z Awakening, and then 4 extra stones from this. Clear the first one level 10 in a minute 10 seconds, clear level 20 in a minute 50 seconds, and then clear level 20 or higher once with at least a powerful comeback category character on your team. Very easy stuff to do. By the way, I do want to also say, I saw a couple of you guys asking in the comments, is Toon saying meta cooler or metal cooler? I am literally saying meta, like the meta, not metal, because I just grew up as a dub fan. I grew up with meta cooler. Metal cooler is the literal translation. That is literally what cooler is. He's made of metal on the JP side, which is fine. You know, no hate to that. I just personally grew up with meta cooler and I can't change it. So apologies if that bothers you, but deal with it. I choose to not have that extra letter in the name. I think meta cooler sounds cooler. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm not gonna do that pun ever again. Moving on here, what else we got? We got the missions for part 2. So that gives us 15 Dragonstones, pretty standard stuff. Easy stuff like clear any stage, get an item, this, that, you know, very easy stuff. This you can get done in your sleep. This will be very easy. So 15 easy stones. The Gohan event gives you 30. So for those of you who have been living under a rock, hopefully you've at least been doing this event from under that rock, because this event once per week gives you 30 Dragonstones. This is a must not miss event. And for the first time at the start of part 2, you'll be able to run through this event again if you've been running it on the day that it released. So that will give you another 30. If you did not do this on that day, then I would imagine that they probably only reset on the day that you were last doing it. So like if you didn't do it on Thursday, but you did it on Saturday, then I think it only resets on Saturday, I think. I don't know for sure, but whatever. Moving on here, we got the story event updates. So of course, the new meta cooler facelift that they gave to the Battle of the Strongest in the Universe story event. We're going to be getting new stages, new missions. That totals to 8 Dragonstones. I'm just going to take his word for it. The Link event gives you 1 stone by simply just completing that 1 stage. And then the SNS campaign, this is the little speaker button that you would click on the screen. It would take you to either Line or Twitter. You would post something, or you could just backspace and cancel it, and you would get your 2 Dragonstones. So there you have it. That is the breakdown for the 150 plus Dragonstones. We're not even factoring in login, and there might be a couple of other things missing, but still, this is a pretty good count for the first day. No? I think that's pretty good. Now let's move on here. A couple of other clarifying comments that I have not yet mentioned. The Metacooler Army will be receiving EZAs. I think I mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but I just want to make sure I reiterate that. There are stickers in the data files, so that means that all the free-to-play Metacoolers will be receiving their EZAs. So don't worry, folks. We will be getting that update. Whenever that happens, we will find out, and I will let you guys know immediately, whether it's part 2, part 3. This is the first half of part 2. Don't forget, we still have to have the new units that drop in a few days. So when that happens, we'll be receiving another data download, and that will probably give us more details on when the free-to-play Metacooler Army will actually be happening. They're getting their awakenings. So there's that. What else we got here? New red zone stage info. Now, this is not yet confirmed, but this is most possible. Okay, I'm not even gonna say that. This is quite possibly going to be what the red zone looks like. But again, don't take their word for it. Don't take my word for it. But just for your own information, the King Cold and Frieza one, I think it's going to be Mecha Frieza into King Cold. Apparently, I guess that makes sense given that King Cold was on the promotional art. I kind of wish it was the other way around because that would be a little bit more symmetrical. But it does make sense. Like after Mecha Frieza dies, only then does King Cold get involved, right? So this does make more sense. But again, we'll have to wait and see what it actually ends up being. And then for the Metacooler one, they're saying that it could possibly be Cyclopean Guard, Metacooler Army, and Metacooler. The reason why they're thinking this, it has to do with the data files. Again, like they get these boss card assets that do different things outside of what their original units actually do. Like Cyclopean Guard is a free-to-play AGL unit that causes supreme damage. This clearly doesn't do that, and is clearly not AGL. This is a different type with a different super attack, and when these types of boss cards are implemented in the data files, this basically indicates that these units are going to be used in some other form or fashion on another event. So my guess is that this low damaging Cyclopean Guard is going to be one of the 5 units that you're going to be facing off against in that breaking through the enemy lines event. Because if they all were to do like colossal damage, you'd probably die. These guys are only doing low damage because the objective isn't to outmuscle them, or isn't for them to kill you. It's for you to outmuscle them. So that's what this is probably going to be for. So in that same light, there's another version that causes supreme damage and lowers attack and defense. This looks like the makings of a unit that is featured on a Super Battle Road simulation stage on a Red Zone event, right? Which is why you would think that the Metacooler Red Zone event would probably start off with like a horde of robot soldiers or Cyclopean Guards, right? So then if we look at like Mega Frieza, he's a tech unit that causes supreme damage, but here he causes immense damage. So this obviously means that he's going to be doing something different. This is not the same unit that we're looking at. This could be something in the red zone. That's why they have these thoughts here. So for your information, that's kind of why they think this. But again, we'll get confirmation when the actual event comes out. Is there anything else? I think that's pretty much it. So we've covered all of it. The main thing is, folks, that the events and everything is going to be starting in 6 hours after reset. So make sure you guys mark your calendars, set your alarm clocks, do what you got to do, because your boy's going to be going live on the channel to run through all of the content. And I'm probably going to be doing some live recordings too. Let's hope we can actually get some dubs this time around. It's funny when we got some Toon L's, but it's also annoying because stupid red zone, man, I have to wait a whole day before I can do 3 attempts again. So I'm going to make sure that I bring my my A game on this stream. Hopefully you guys are there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about all of those stones that you can earn on this first night of gaming? Do you think you have what it takes to earn all 150 plus? Or do you think you're probably going to struggle on a couple of events? Which ones are you looking forward to? Which ones are you not looking forward to? Talk to me. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned and remember to Dokkan responsibly.